Welcome to the Dairy News and Views podcast, a production of the Iowa State University Extension and Outreach Dairy Team. Our podcast covers current educational, research, and industry tools available for your operation to manage healthy cows and calves while producing the highest quality dairy products.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hola y bienvenidos to this episode of Spanish Fridays. With the Dairy News and Views podcast from the ISU Extension Dairy Team. I'm your host for this series of episodes. My name's Gail Carpenter. I'm the State Dairy Specialist with Iowa State. I'm joined by Miguel Rangel. He's the owner of Optimum Dairy Consulting. We have been practicing our Spanish. I've been practicing. Miguel has been teaching.
You have.
Yeah. And we've been making, I think, a lot of progress and been learning a lot of stuff along the way. I know I have, and I hope our listeners have as well. In our previous episode, we talked about record keeping and the importance of record keeping and how we keep good records even when our employees don't speak the same native language as we do. And we're going to move in and start talking in this next couple episodes about SOPs, standard operating procedures.
That's right.
Yes. So, Miguel, welcome. I should have said that
Gracias.
earlier, probably. Yes.
Hola todos.
Hola. And yeah, let's jump in and start talking a little bit about SOPs. We are going to start with one, and I didn't want to pick on any particular person's SOP, so I just had ChatGPT make an SOP for me. And I had to make a couple. We're going to talk about one today on the milking routine, and then in our next episode, we're going to talk about one with newborn calf care. We're going to talk about the SOPs themselves, and then we used Google Translate to convert these into Spanish, and so we're going to tie that back into Spanish and how we say things in Spanish, because Google Translate is a powerful tool and it is a commonly used tool, but it's not always perfect. So we're going to chat about that a little bit more. But first, Miguel, you had a chance to look through, and I did not give, I know with AI, whatever AI tool you use, in this case, it was ChatGPT, but other people might use different ones. I know with these AI tools, a lot of the quality of your feedback is going to come from the prompt that you use. And so I did not use a very detailed prompt. I just said, make me a short SOP that I can use that would be useful to farm employees. So the first one we have is milking routine. It's a 2-page SOP. What did you think about it, Miguel?
Well, as the SOP per se, I think it's well written. Obviously, simple. You want it simple. You don't want a lot of text. And anyone could, for the most part, almost anyone could understand this, as long as they are related or familiar with the dairy industry, right? Otherwise, well, people wouldn't know what is lag time, what is unit attachment, things like that. But for anyone who is in the dairy industry, yeah, this is a understandable SOP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did notice a couple typos in here. It's not saying teats. It's teat, T-E-A-T. It says 2 to 3 streams from each theater instead of teats.
Theater.
Yeah. And then apply floor coverage with all 4 teats, or teas with no extra tea, thoroughly dry teas. So I think some of the translation I should have caught that sooner. Some of the translation we're going to see probably comes back to, it doesn't apparently feel very comfortable saying teats.
Yes.
I felt like, yes, there's SOPs to me are a big balancing act, because you want it simple enough that people will read it, right? If you put paragraphs and paragraphs of information, if you put a lot of big blocks of text, if you put too much detail, people will just skim it and they won't read it. You can use some formatting tricks to make that easier, right? Bolding the parts that you want, and then maybe putting the parts that are more explanatory and in a normal font, not a bold font. Using bullet points, right? So you can have like your main thing up there, and then some more explanatory stuff in bullets. You want them to be simple and straightforward enough that that people can read them, that people will read them, but you don't want them so simple that people won't. They're just so vague that people don't actually know what to do, right? So
that whenever possible, I always like to use images
that's yes,
because
that's
the image, it helps tremendously because then you know what you mean, right?
yes. So
Or if there is a valve that needs to be closed and the other one that needs to be open, if you have arrows pointing
yes,
to those valves, that helps.
yes, exactly. I think you want it to make it as easy as possible for people to follow. So like here under forward stripping, 2 to 3 streams from each theater, each teat, and check for clinical mastitis, flakes, clots, watery milk, report abnormal milk immediately. Like a picture of abnormal milk would be a great
Yes.
thing that we could include here. Um, and here and I've thought of more examples on the calf one, but like use 1 clean towel per cow, paper or laundered, right? Well, on a farm, knowing like, okay, towels, clean towels go in this bin, dirty towels go in this bin, right? Where are my dirty towels and my clean towels? Um things make it as easy as possible for people to follow the directions and have as many systems in place that it's like, okay, we consistently put the dirty towels here. We consistently put the like pull clean towels out of this, and um, I think a lot of it comes back to make the systems that people are following straightforward enough and consistent enough that the SOP doesn't have to be super detailed, right? You don't have to put like, um, if no clean towels, right? Or if the towels are over here, or if like, right, like you don't have to put a lot of contingencies into your SOP because everything's going to be pretty much in the same spot all the time. Labeling things, right? Yeah, so move craft to a clean, dry area immediately. What area?
Uh-huh. Yes,
Is there a warming pen? Is there like
exactly.
having like that area identified, that's okay, the calf goes in this pen or this spot. A picture is great, but also if you label that spot, right? If like you put a label on the location, or like with identification, here's one of the things. So apply farm year tag, record dam ID, calf's ID, sex, birth time. There's nowhere on this SOP where it gets recorded, right? So
Exactly.
put you can add that to the SOP, but you could also have a checklist posted wherever you keep the ear tags. And you can put a label on the drawer where you have the ear tags and the tagger, right? Like in so not just making, but it's not just, in my opinion, about making the SOP good. It's making sure that our system is set up so that you can follow it pretty intuitively, even if you've never done it before. Does that make sense? Or am I?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, no, actually, I was, well, when we see the part in Spanish, in this same spot, there are some things that I wanted to show you, but since you already mentioned some of that, exactly, is you also need to be specific, right? Like, okay,
Yes.
yes, put it where. And the other one is, yes, if you want employees to follow the SOPs, they need to have everything they need on hand. Because if you said use, let's say, post-dip, and they
Yeah.
don't have iodine, and
Yeah.
they don't do it.
Yep.
And the
Yep.
other one is to have the checklist, right?
Yep.
So to avoid mistakes, you also need to have a system to make sure that they ask for iodine, like you have your inventory when they need iodine, that's for example, or lube, whatever, gloves,
Hmm.
so they never run out. Because otherwise, if there is no iodine, more often than not, they don't say it and
Yes.
they just don't use iodine, and that's a
Yeah.
big deal.
A lot of parlors might have a pre-dip and a post-dip that are separate, right? And so the pre-dip might be in one color, dip cup and a post-it might be in another color, or the dips probably look different, right? So if you have like here, pre-dip, in blue cups, or pre-dip is the orange solution or something, right? Of course, we also have to understand that a little bit about accessibility. If people like color blindness is a thing, right? So that's why I like a good label maker. And I think a good label maker can really help. Maybe I'm a little bit overboard on it sometimes in my personal life, but I do love label um putting a label on something. It helps you, it decreases the amount of like mental effort you have to put towards something.
Mental
And
effort,
it
yes.
decreases the mental load on learning a new thing. And yeah, color coding is great. I love color coding.
Me
Whether
too.
that's, calves at different ages getting different amounts of feed, and you have like a different you have a different ring color or something on the front of their pen, whatever it is, right? Color coding, I think, is a great tool, but not everybody can see color very well. And so making sure that there's a secondary thing that they can look at
Mhm.
when possible, so that they're not just kind of stuck if they can't see colors very well. So I always think
Yes.
about when I was an undergrad, I worked at the Michigan State Dairy, and while I was out there, there were two people who worked out there who were both colorblind. Um, and so, yeah, if you said like, oh, that's in
The blue bin.
the blue
Yeah.
bin, right? They were red green, but if you were, oh, the red bin or the green, like they would be, I don't know which one is which, right? um, I remember walking around one time and there was a red bucket and it just had a piece of duct tape on it and it said red. Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
so, so yeah, simplifying, like not just, it's not, an SOP doesn't exist in a vacuum. An SOP exists in within the operating procedures that it's meant to standardize, right? Um, and if we can
yes.
make the things around it simple and easy to follow as we can, we'll kind of increase that consistency. So even things that seem like common sense, right? Because common sense is not always common. Um, but there's a lot of different ways that you can interpret some things that you think are pretty straightforward. So yes,
Yes.
walking through a SOP with an employee too. If you update an SOP, making sure that you like run it by somebody who's been doing the work, running it by
Uh-huh.
people who have been who might have to follow it. Maybe run it by people who haven't read it before so that they can, or haven't done the work before so they can see find any things that you think are straightforward that they might not think are straightforward. All of those are good
Uh-huh.
ideas.
And the other one is to make sure that, for example, in the milking routine, that the order is not altered, because I know in some
Yep.
areas some things can be changed and it's not a big deal. If, for example, well, if they attach units before wiping off, oof, well, that's a big deal. But they need to know these ones are, unavoidable. You need to
Mm-hmm.
follow these to the T.
Mm-hmm.
And that way they know, okay, I can change this one. Okay. So that's important, right? Like if you have, for example, bedding where you bed on Wednesdays, but maybe that day it's a Tuesday and it was pretty humid and calves need bedding. Well, you need to do it whenever it is needed, and that needs to
Yeah.
be clear, because otherwise employees are like, I know it says on Wednesday, so they are going to get upset if I do it on a Tuesday
Right.
when it is not the case, right?
Yep. Yep.
It's more about the calf welfare,
Yep.
pretty much.
We don't need to sit and go through this whole SO. I think some of those general things are probably good enough for information about this SOP. I threw this into Google Translate, and so I would like to spend a little bit of time
Mm-hmm.
going through the Spanish translation. Ordeño is one that that's the milking we have talked about.
Exactly. That we
So
talk about,
yes,
right? Ordeño.
ordeño, yes. So we're talking about the operating procedure, standard operating procedure for milking. Procedimiento operativo estándar de ordeño.
Yes,
Uh,
standard.
estándar. Standard operating procedure for milking. So, as you've had a chance to look through this, what
Yes,
I see some vocabulary that we've talked about before, but
some
is
of
this all
the
laid out? Yes.
some of the stuff that you see, for example, which the intention is a good intention, right? To tell employee what needs to be done. For example, in the first point, manejo de vacas, it says there, trasladar las vacas con calma, sin gritos, ni picanas eléctricas. A lot of people wouldn't know what a picana eléctrica is, for example. We don't
Yes.
use that word. And that is a prod, right?
Yep. Yep.
But well, that one, if anything, there is a term that they use, which is like chicharra, which is not the correct term. It's just a colloquial term. But
Chicharra.
if you tell someone bring the picaña eléctrica or picana, they will say, I don't know what that is. But if you tell him bring the chicharra, they know what that
Yes.
is. So anyway, just now the other one is when you say here, or well, not you, but Google. So it says, for example, pre-inmersión is what we talked about, that pre-dip, right? When you say pre-inmersión, people don't know what pre-inmersión is.
Yes.
So that's when we use the word, right? Presello o desinfección de la teta. But pre-inmersión, really, it doesn't ring any bell.
Mm.
So that's one of those. That's why we use presello.
Preseo.
It's kind of what we use. Or in a lot of cases, when you use iodine, we call it yodo de entrada, the pre-dip, y
Yep.
yodo de salida, the post-dip, because it's the iodine that you use when the cow enters the parlor, and the post-dip is yodo de salida, is the iodine you use when the cow leaves the parlor. But these days there are a lot of products, not only iodine.
Yep.
So that's why the term is pretty much, I wouldn't say obsolete, but it's not used that much. So
Yeah.
if you say presello y at the end sello, it's fine.
Yes.
Right? But pre-inmersión, really, no. I mean,
Yeah.
that doesn't say anything.
That's probably a
Now,
literal translation, I would guess.
I
Inmersión is
would say
probably a
so. That was,
literal dip, like to take a dip in something, right? Versus
yeah,
um
which is good. Is great. You just have to fine tune kind of those
yep.
little
Yep.
words here
Yep.
and there. So the other one is,
Oh, I did notice, and I noticed this on the CAF one too. Limpiar y secar. We've and in the CAF one it says limpia y seca. That's one that we've really hammered on this podcast, right? Clean and dry.
oh yeah,
Yep.
okay, yes, clean and dry. That should be in red with capital red
Yes.
letters, right?
Yes.
So another one is accesorio de la unidad, which is number 3.
Mm-hmm.
That one, it says accesorio de la unidad, and in English that is unit attachment.
Uh-huh.
So that should be colocación de la unidad, because you are attaching the unit, but you don't say accesorios. It's just in Spanish, attachment is colocar o accesorios. Attach means colocar, an attachment, accesorio. So that's one of those literal translations. So that's why accesorio de la unidad pretty much doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't
Okay.
tell you that you need to attach a unit. It just says, what? The machine has an accessory? What is
Yeah.
that?
Gotcha. What's the word that you use?
Colocar,
Colocar.
colocar, which is the term that you would use. Coloque la unidad.
Coloque.
Coloque, which is like attach the unit, right? Conecte. Another term more closely related to attach is conecte, like connect.
Yep.
So you can use conecte, coloque, and you're fine.
Oh, I see it right here. Vuelva
Yeah,
a colocar
yes,
la unidad. So I
yes.
think this is talking about reattaching the unit.
Reattaching the unit,
Yeah.
yes.
So yes. So vuelva a colocar. I don't
Vuelva.
understand. This was a chat GPT thing. I don't really know if this is what it means by this. Reattach only if the unit falls off within the first 30 seconds. Otherwise, finish that cow last to avoid
So
over
that
milking the group. I don't know what it's getting at there, but I would probably ignore that advice.
yeah. So for example, yeah, it's just to finish milking the cow to avoid over milking, right?
Yeah. Well,
And
if the unit gets kicked off and it's been more than 30 seconds, I would still recommend reattaching that unit and not finishing her last, right? Like,
and not finishing her last,
right.
right?
I don't get that.
So those are the very tricky part that need to
Yeah.
be reviewed before kind of saying, okay, this
Yes.
SOP is good to go.
Yes.
Because there are times where you ask the employee, what are you doing that? And they said, they told me to. And if you
Yeah.
review the SOP, it says something like that, right?
Yep.
Maybe this
Yep.
is not the specific case, but it could be something like that. And you are like, no wonder, but they don't do that
Yep.
since 2020. I don't
Yep.
know.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Now, there is another one that says, number 4,
Yep.
durante el ordeño,
Yep.
esté atento a las entregas incompletas o a las unidades expulsadas.
Yeah.
That one doesn't say anything. That's like, wow.
what does that mean when you read it? It's so that is translating the phrase watch for incomplete letdown or kicked off units. When you read that,
Incomplete.
in Spanish, what are you thinking?
When I see that, entrega incompleta, for me, that sounds like someone came to bring like supplies and they didn't deliver all of them.
Oh,
So,
well,
because
yeah,
you
it's
don't
talking about
pay,
letdown, like a milk letdown. But then if
yes.
you're thinking about like, oh, that person let me down. Okay, I see that. Yes.
And this is why in this case, but it's normal, like I said, the context, right? So the term in this case doesn't translate as it should. So it should be something like esté atento a vacas mal ordeñadas o
Or
vacas
that didn't milk well.
vacas que no se ordeñaron completamente. Like being a little bit more specific, because in this case there could be confusion.
Yes.
Like, would you say incomplete letdown? Another one that you can say, bajada de la leche incompleta. But if you say ordeña incompleta, it's better.
Ordeña incompleta.
Incompleta.
That makes sense. Incomplete milking. Yes.
Incomplete milking. That will make more sense. Yes, in this case. Otherwise, when you read it like that, you are like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Someone didn't
So
bring the supplies.
yeah. So entrega is more like disappointment, right? Like.
Yes.
All
And the
right.
other one is unidades expulsadas. So when you
Expel
think
unit.
about
Yeah.
unidades expulsadas, you think about the unit being expelled from the parlor through the window or something like
Which
that.
I
So,
guess
which
if
is,
it's sometimes when they kick it off, it's just like that, right? Like
yeah, watch for
get a
your
heifer in
teeth.
there. Yeah.
Yes, having a heifer.
Yep.
So that will be one of those that, yeah, it is funny to read, but definitely when you are there, that will be more like, yes, units that are detached earlier, right? So pay attention to, in this case, would be unidades que se desconectan o se desconectaron,
Hmm.
right?
Desconectar. Yes.
Yes. So you can use any of those, I guess. The good thing that you can say it different ways. Unidades desconectadas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Unidades desconectadas. That means detached units, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you see, let's say that's part of the training. If you see that some units are detached, we need to find out why, right? The cow kicked it. There is not enough vacuum. The filters are not, or yeah, pretty much vacuum, something related to vacuum, and maybe, or the flow is slow for whatever reason. Maybe, yes, the cow or the heifer, they are nervous. They are not letting the milk flow. It could be many things, but it's mostly just to pay attention. As usual, no, people go and they pay attention to those, making sure the cow is actually milked
Mm-hmm.
or not.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's a mechanical error. The units are detaching. Could be. So yeah, because we have that as unit removal, right?
Yeah.
And when you say eliminación de la unidad, that is almost like saying elimination of the unit,
Take away
like
the
you are
unit.
getting
Yeah.
rid of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Like take them
oh,
out.
that's good.
Yeah.
Instead of taking them out.
Yeah.
So those are good ones. I like those.
Yeah.
Okay, the other one, or do you have another one that you found?
Well, isn't the this one post inmersión, is that the same thing that we talked about with the pre-dip?
That will be
We
the
would just call it
post-dip.
sello.
And
Yeah.
before we do that one, I saw another one that is
Oh.
pretty confusing. It's the number 5 in that one. It
Uh-huh.
says, compruebe que el grupo de pezones cuelga recto y que no están sobreordeñados, right? Confirm
Yes.
clusters hang straight and teats are not over milk.
Yes.
So, compruebe que los grupos de pezones. So, this is saying something different. This is comparing the cluster to the teats of the cow.
Oh.
No. So, in that case, you would say to make sure that the unit, in this case, the claw,
Yeah.
is hanging straight,
Yeah.
right? And that the teats, or in this case, the teats are not over milk. So I think there is a mix then.
Yeah.
On one side, they are talking about the unit, the claws. In the other one, they are talking about the teats. So it
Yeah.
looks like they mix the translation there, but no, you cannot say compruebe que el grupo de pezones cuelga recto because that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So it is just to make sure, compruebe que la unidad is a lot easier when you
Unidad,
call
yeah.
the unit, milking unit, the cluster, etc.,
Yeah.
referred as the unit.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
Unidad,
We
yeah.
also, the colloquial term for each claw, we call it pezoneras. It's a colloquial term. It's pezonera because it goes in the nipple. So
Mm-hmm.
if you call them pezoneras, they know what you mean.
Yeah.
Wash the lining in the pezoneras, or in
Yep.
this case, you can just say wash the liner, but if you say pezonera, that makes more sense,
Yep.
right? Anyway, so,
All right.
and the other one, si es necesario extraerlo manualmente, apague primero la aspiradora. That is, if it is necessary to remove the unit manually.
Yep.
Extraerlo manualmente really doesn't make sense, or it doesn't send the message that you want for them.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is apague primero la aspiradora. That one comes from vacuum, but
Yeah.
vacuum is a household implement, right?
Oh, yeah. Not talking about like the act, like, so it's just talking about like what you would
Your
vacuum your floor with, not,
electrodomestic.
yeah. Okay.
So in this case, that's what Google is using, like a household vacuum. No, we
Okay.
are talking about el vacío. Vacuum is vacío.
Vacío.
Like when you're in the space there is vacuum. So we call that vacío, the absence of air.
All right.
Okay. Oof, that's a lot for just one number.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, then what do we've got almost towards the end here. So we got post inmersión, which I think we would just call that SEO, right? SEO is
Yes.
post-it.
Or
Yep.
just sello. Sello,
SEO.
it's
Yep.
fine.
Yep.
Sello.
Yep. Anything else in that one?
No, I think for the most part, nobody, I mean, it says asegúrese que cada extremo de la tetina. Almost nobody says tetina again,
Yeah.
but it's not a
Yeah.
big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Here it's
There
talking
is a
about removal of the unit, right? And it says retirar.
retirar.
Retirar. That's a lot of R's in that word. Which is, so this is probably a better term for unit removal than eliminación.
Exactly.
Yep,
I
yep,
was gonna tell you that it uses the terms whenever, I don't know why, but sometimes it uses the correct term, but it's a lot the context. It's
yep,
just, it's
yep, yep, yep.
okay.
And then we
So
got
number
special needs
7.
cows. Yes.
So number 7, special need cows. When you say something like las vacas con mastitis lechera, that one is because when they translated it, they took it from here, milk mastitis. So they translated it as
Oh,
mastitis lecheras, but that doesn't make
so it's
sense.
talking about, yeah, so it's milk. So the English translation is milk mastitis / high somatic cell count cows last. But it's taking it's so it said it saw milk there as the noun milk, lechera,
Exactly. They saw
yes,
it as the noun.
not as ordeño, the verb milk. Gotcha. Ordeñar.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Okay. So, but anyway, the other one
So
is
it's saying the cows
recuento.
with mastitis milk, not milk mastitis cows. Yes.
Exactly. That would be ordeñe las vacas con mastitis, right?
Yes.
And then slash vacas con células somáticas altas. I mean, it says recuento alto de células somáticas. It, I mean, yeah, it's okay, but if you say vacas con células somáticas altas would be more specific. And the rest is debe colocarse al final o en una sección designada. That's fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now, sigue el protocolo de la granja del desecho de leche, cultivos y tratamientos de vacas. Yes.
I do want to
The
say, since
rest.
we're talking about not the translation itself, but since we're talking about SOPs, this is a great example. Follow farm protocol for dump milk cultures and treatment cows. If you don't say where that farm protocol is, it makes it really hard for them to follow it, right? Like,
Yes.
so a way that we could say located in the binder labeled milking protocols in the break room or whatever.
No, not only that, but like, for example, this is the first time they introduced the word cultivo.
Yes.
So when you say cultivo, what is that? I mean,
It's supposed to be
this is the
culture.
first time, the milk
Yeah.
culture, right? But this is the first time that is introduced to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's why important to mention that, yes, there is where you can find that record so
Yeah.
they know.
Yeah.
And the other one, right? Like, I am a fan of having a board in the
Yep.
hospital.
Yep.
So you
Yep.
know why these cows are here. Maybe they don't have mastitis. Maybe it's just a special needs cow, like you
Yep.
said. Maybe it's lame or abortion, whatever. But
Yep.
they know what's going on. If they are taking cultures,
Yep.
etc. All that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
All
you can
right.
always say refer to the board in the parlor, for
Yeah.
example, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Last one, limpieza y mantenimiento del equipo.
Yes.
Clean and maintain equipment. Anything in there that jumps out?
No, actually, I like that it says, mantenga las superficies de la sala de ordeño limpias y libres de estiércol, enjuague los grupos que hayan estado en contacto con estiércol, leche contaminada, con mastitis, antes. Oh, I think that's the one, yeah. What is enjuague los grupos? Enjuague los grupos. That one is clusters,
Yep.
not grupos. So
Yes.
enjuague las unidades.
Unidades. Yes.
Unidades, that would be. And the last one is informe sobre grietas por desgastes de la goma, problemas con el revestimiento o fluctuaciones de vacío. That would be informe sobre las grietas por manguera por desgaste en las mangueras de hoses.
Mangueras. Okay.
Now, if you mean the rubber floor, that is mat o tapete.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, that's just for your glossary, right? Tapete or mat. And the hoses, mangueras. That one, it's important because, yeah, they need to make sure that they check those all the time.
Yeah.
Y fluctuaciones de vacío, that's perfectly fine.
Well, we made it through our first SOP.
Yes. Not a bad one. Like I said,
Yes.
a lot of things have to do with the context and also with the training that you give the employee. So when the employee
Yeah.
is familiar with what we are talking about,
Yeah.
and he sees how they do it, eventually he's like, okay, if I have a question, I can quickly go to the SOP and refer to it, and I know what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
Well, next one we're going to be talking about on our next episode is going to be some newborn calf procedures. So we'll be able to practice some of our calf vocabulary as well. But in the meantime, we will let our listeners go until next week. Thank you all for listening. If you want to learn more about what we do, you can check out our websites. You can find out more about what I'm working on at our Extension Dairy Team website, extension.iastate.edu/dairy team, and Miguel's website for his business is optimumdairy.com. So nos vemos. Nos vemos la siguiente semana.
This institution is an equal opportunity provider. For the full non-discrimination statement or combination inquiries, go to www.extension.iastate.edu/diversity/ext.